Hi guys, I'm back from Nationals. I decided to do a Saber update video, real quick to see you guys, to see how the deck is changing over time, as I've made some decision changes that can make the deck a little bit better going forward. So anyways, I decided to go into the Ultimate Time Wizard with Totogon's list. Actually, it wasn't exactly Totogon's list. I did not play one for one in that deck. So I decided to play UTW with Totogon's list. I found the list to be intriguing, as it is more of a combo deck as it is the version that I played with Dark Sabers. Dark Saber is more of a mid-range strategy because it plays cards that try to fight for board early on. As opposed to Totogon's list, it plays more like a combo strategy where it doesn't matter what you have set, unless it's like anti-spell fragrance or like dark bribe. The idea behind Totogon's list is that it tries to play defense by using the monsters as opposed to using trap cards. The monsters being Giant Rat and Ember's Blade, and it tries to like defend itself until the Gold Sark resolves or all the combo pieces go to their hand. And then when that happens, then they use Giant Trunade and some of the Rescue Cat line or the Summoner Monk line to go into double Full Troll or even one Full Troll. Is the line that he was trying to go for. I tried that list for ETW and I found that to be unsuccessful because a lot of the good decks in today's format are fighting for boards really early, namely Blackwings. So Blackwings and Vayu fight for board really early because they're setting really high quality cards or they're normal summoning high quality cards. So, for example, Blackwings are going to be normal summoning Shura under the Whirlwind. If they don't normal summon Shura under the Whirlwind, they're summoning a Bora or Shura with a Kalut in hand, so that they can pretty much establish sort of like a setup where if they attack over the Shura, then they have the Kalut to follow that up, or a Bora as well. And if Bora dies or Icarus is dead as well, then they have the Blizzard to revive the Blackwing. So I feel like fighting for board is kind of the name of the game in today's Edison meta, in my opinion. Rather than playing sort of like a combo variant of Sabers, I decided to go back to the Dark Saber engine, where from my Winnipod, where I was able to win this hamster mat. In that pod, I was able to play two Frog heroes, and I was able to win both of them. And I was over, and I beat Amaryllis 2-0. So I did drop games against the Frog hero decks, one game each, namely because they drew multiple monarchs. If they open up multiple monarchs in a treeborn and in games one, and I have no way to deal with the treeborn frog, it's typically really hard for me to stop multiple monarchs. So that's how I was able to lose game ones against those decks. And then if I play against them games 2 and 3, then the side deck is kind of doing more work than actually is. So it's the same list as the Dark Saber list that I posted a couple days ago, where I got a pretty decent amount of views. I was surprised. I didn't expect it to get that many views, but it's the same engine. I still play the Spy and the One Descendant package. I really like this package because it's better than the Hamster engine as a mid-range option because you can flip Spy and be proactive with it. Whereas with Hamster, you only get a Raikou and you get to set it, and you won't be able to do a lot of damage with the Hamster on its own. Whereas with this, you could do 2,700 damage if you flip a Spy. And so I kind of see how Doom Caliber Cat back in the day was able to do well in in the first Edison tournaments ever. Because Caliber Cat abuses the fact that Spy can generate 2,700 damage, but also being able to go into Descendant is really good because it also means that your opponent can't set a non-chainable trap card while Descendant is out, because if they do, then you're going to tribute off the Spy and then pop the set. If that's what's going to happen. And so that's really good because sometimes, especially nowadays, fighting for board early, people are going to be normal summoning Shura, normal summoning Sirocco, normal summoning any monster to try to attack the Spy, thinking it's a Raikou, but it's often going to be a Spy, especially if they don't know what you're on. And I really like the Spy engine for being able to do that. It's also a monster that has a 2,000 defense, but it's also a spellcaster that can go into the Arcanine Magician. So I definitely think this card belongs in mid-range cat decks or even X-Saber decks. And I just don't see myself cutting it, especially since Descendant can clear the way for an Air Bellum swing, the same following turn, because you're going to be drawing Air Bellum. There's no if, ands, or but. You're always going to draw Air Bellum in your opening hand because that's how you've deck build, because you want to make sure that the Rescue Cat has as much target as possible, and that's why Air Bellum is going to be at 3 in this deck. And so it's really good to pair off the Air Bellum with the Gravekeeper engine, so that you can do direct damage as well as fight for board really early. And then if you really need to, you can actually synchro summon into Arcanite to deal with the Gores if they drop Gores on you when you swing direct with the Air Bellum. So that's kind of my logic, and I just really love the Spy engine as opposed to the Hamster engine for the mid-range option. I took some concept from Totegon. I didn't completely negate all of his concepts. So I did decide to play the Sangan. Sangan's really good, even if you are playing against decks that side DDV, because the theory is if he's on the board and DDV resolves, Sangan gets you a monster that would normally get destroyed by DDV. So I decided to keep the Sangan in there. He's also a really good synchro material monster because you can make your Fulham Knight and your Airbellums into a Goyo Guardian and Bryo. A one card Goyo and Bryo is pretty good. So the idea behind Sangan is to search for Rescue Cat, obviously, so that you can do your Fultral plays. Not much else to say, but Sangan does allow you to search for Ember's Blade as well if you want to float even more. That's why he's in the deck, in my opinion. I still don't play Summoner Monk in this deck, so another reason I found that why I don't want to play Summoner Monk in this deck, not because of the oppression, but because mainly the Summoner Monk, if you already resolve the cat and you design your deck to try to search for the cat or bring out the cat, most likely you're going to be bringing out the cat in Totegon's list with Giant Rat or Summoner Monk. And the other third way to do it is to search it off of Sangan. If your deck is designed to get 2 out of the 3 ways to get cat out is not by non-Summoner Monk, by the time you resolve cat, now Summoner Monk is kind of dead. You don't want to have dead Summoner Monks drawn because that card is really bad if you don't have a spell card, but it's also really bad if you do have a spell card but no targets in the deck. So I decided that was more of a reason not to play Summoner Monk, and I decided to cut it ultimately. Sure, there is really good power plays with Summoner Monk, and I agree with those power plays. However, because you're making your deck more combo oriented, even if you're playing a combo deck where you require certain pieces to come in your hand, because you're adding on another requirement to your combo, which is a spell card. So let's just do the math real quick. You need a Summoner Monk, you need a spell card, you need a Trunade, and you need a Fultral. Those are 4 cards that you need in order for that combo to go off really well. And if you think about it, that's kind of like Exodia, because Exodia is 5 cards, whereas Summoner Monk, Spell, Trunade, Fultral, or even the Trunade can be substituted by Trap Stun or Heavy Storm. But still, it's basically playing 3 pieces of the left leg of Exodia, and then the rest is like one-ofs because it's Summoner Monk. And that's assuming you don't have Rescue Cat in your deck already. So if you have Rescue Cat in the deck and you have a Summoner Monk, the Summoner Monk clogs your distribution, where now you have like a dead card in your hand, but it doesn't matter because you're going to OTK them anyways. But I just didn't like that theory where I had to have a 4-card combination in order for the combo deck to be very good. And so I decided, using that logic, I don't want to have that logic applied to Dark Saber, where if I have Summoner Monk, that can theoretically happen. Whereas with Rescue Cat, you just need Rescue Cat. It's a 3-card combo. You need Rescue Cat, Fultral, and a sweeper card, which is Heavy Storm MST. But sometimes you don't even need the sweeper. If you're fighting for board early, the cards, most deck plays like 10 traps as a good ratio, 10 traps or less. And so the idea is that if they're drawing, in most average hands, they're going to be drawing 1 trap or 2 at most in those hands, because if they have 10 or less traps in their deck and they're drawing 1 or 2, then most likely if you sweep those traps with MST or Descendant Effect, then you don't have to worry about Cat resolving. So really, it's really Cat Fultral. So I try to make that idea come to fruition, where I'm limiting the number of cards needed for the OTK to happen. And so the most easiest combo setup is just Rescue Cat and Fultral, which is a 2-card combo. And I prefer that over not. So I feel like that's kind of the idea that I was trying to go for. I know that was really lengthy, but that was kind of the theory I was trying to go for with this particular build. 3 Hour Bellum, I'm just going to go through the speedrun, the X Sabers. 3 Hour Bellums, 3 3 of the full helm, and 3 of the sabers. I've already explained most of the ideas behind this, but the main idea behind Arabellum is that if you're ripping cards from your opponent's hand in a lot of the different decks in this format, then you're limiting their options to tackle you the next turn. And because people are still favored Heavy Storm, they're not going to be setting multiple back rows unless one of them is Legacy Yatagarasu, or Jar Greed, or a Starlight Road or a Solemn. And so they're not going to set multiple back rows. Then this card theoretically hits a trap out of their hand, so that you could do your push with the 2-card combo, which is Cat and Fultrell. I don't play the Rescue Cat anymore. I don't play the Raikou anymore because in my testing, I found that Raikou is a bit slow. I know that Raikou makes sense with the Cat, but if I'm constantly normal summoning or setting a non-X-Saber monster, I feel really bad, and so I try to cut down on the normal summons that are not X-Sabers that can get to an X-Saber, and down to 4. And then that makes the deck a little bit more consistent, I would say. By that logic, I even took out the Junk Synchron, and I also took out the Gale as well because of that reasoning. So I only have 4 non-X-Saber monsters that don't turn into X-Sabers. This turns into an X-Saber eventually, but you're at the cost of normal summoning and sending it. Rescue Cat is an X-Saber on normal summon, so that's why I count this as an X-Saber. And then I play the 3 Fultrell. You have to play the 3 Fultrell for this deck, and then the 1 Rajigura, because even though there is no 1-for-1 in this deck, I still don't believe 1-for-1 should be played in this deck because you're adding on to the combo count. Rajigura adding Rajigura adding an X-Saber monster from the Ember's Blade allows you to have 2 X-Saber names. So 1 Ember's Blade turns into a 2 X-Saber monster on the field. This also is really good because you can resolve a full Helm Knight and then get this back from the graveyard in the event that you've already used a sort of a mid combo Fultrell play, and then you want to get it back. That's kind of the idea behind Rajigura. So I still don't play 1-for-1, and I believe I'm still at 20 monsters. Let me double check. 5, 10, 15, 18 monsters. Actually, I'm playing 18 monsters. Okay, so because I'm playing 18 monsters and more than half of them are less than 1,500, most likely going to be siding them out games 2 and 3. Spell count. So the spell count is pretty much the same, except I took some of Totegon's ideas, which is the Gold Sark. I really like Gold Sark in this deck because there is no good 1-card combo, 1-card card that gets you Fultrell, and you need cards that get you to Fultrell really well. And since I'm fighting for board really early, because I'm playing real traps such as Bottomless Mirror Force, Gold Sark is actually much more needed in this deck than the combo variant of X-Sabers. So the Gold Sark is able to search me the traps that I need, the spells that I need, but most likely it's going to be Fultrell off this Gold Sark. I tried looking at Garsum. Garsum unfortunately requires the card to be destroyed by a card effect. So if you're playing cards that that destroy the Garsum, it's a 2-card combo for you to get to the Fultrell. Whereas this card is a 1 card that gets you the Fultrell. So again, the same thing, the same logic applies. Try to make it so that your combo pieces are minimal as possible to get to your OTK hands, essentially. Or not OTK, but basically board control hand rip combo. So I only play the 10 spells, and still no Summoner Monk to be seen and no 1-for-1 to be seen. Traps I play the Call the Haunted and the Solemn Judgment. Call the Haunted is a combo piece as well. If you need the second X-Saber on the field, this allows you to get to the second combo piece. But I do side it out games 2 and 3 because there's multiple ways to stop special summoning, and spell cards being able to special summon feels kind of bad, especially, trap cards that special summon feels kind of bad. By that logic, I also side out one of the Gotems as well, but you still need 3 of them because in games where you don't open a Fultrell or wait to search for Fultrell, this is kind of like a mini Fultrell. So you have 6 Fultrells in your deck, and this allows you to win against games where you don't have the Fultrell. So this allows you to put damage on board and allows you to do the big synchro monsters. That's kind of the idea. And it's because I'm fighting for board, I'm going to be playing the Saber Hole still. I did cut it down to 2 though. In my earlier video, I was using sort of like a rhetoric tactic that I was unaware of. The rhetoric tactic is, since when is this ever going to be dead in an X-Saber deck? I was using sort of like a definition-based rhetoric, where I was basically saying, because I'm playing X-Sabers, I will always have a face-up X-Saber monster, but that's not necessarily true. There are hands where you don't have an X-Saber monster and you draw this card, and this card feels really bad without an X-Saber monster. But there are hands where you draw Arabellum in this card, and it's God mode. Even with any Ember's Blade is also God mode because they're going to be trying to commit a monster to the field, and they can just saber hole it. Someone in the pod special summon Prodigy, and then Tribute for Caius, and this card was really good. And the Arabellum was able to do a direct attack for another +1. So this was a +1, and the Arabellum was a +1. And so I'm limiting their options so that my combo goes unstopped by a random trap card because of the distribution of trap cards in a regular deck list. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind Saber Hole. It's also really good because in hands where you open up slow, like only one Ember's Blade, and this is really good too as well. The fact that you could also use this as a counter trap to stop like Hero Beat, because Hero Beat has some representation to be able to stop the alias from the normal summoning. So they can't Gem Spark, makes it a +1 because now their Gem Spark is kind of dead, assuming they have it. So I just really like Saber Hole for that fact. So I trimmed it down to 2 because sometimes, again, you're not going to see an X-Saber monster. I play the 2 Bottomless, the Mirror Force, and the 2 Fiendish Chain to round off all the traps. Fiendish Chain, the idea is if you have the Ember's Blade, I don't play Giant Rat in this deck, but if you had the Ember's Blade, you can crash the monster that you locked with the Fiendish Chain. But in the reason why I cut cards for this card is because Gale and Junk Synchron are both cards that are non-X-Saber monsters that you have to normal summon. And so the whole idea behind Junk Synchron and Gale was so I can go into Underground Arachnid, and Fiendish Chain stops the dupe lock by itself already. You just have to wait a turn. And so you could just Fiendish Chain one of the dupe frogs, and it loses the ability to block an attack. So you can attack the Subsitoad if it's a soft dupe. And yeah, that's kind of the idea. So it's basically already an out, but it's a trap card version. Another out is also Book of Moon as well. So X-Sabers do have ways to out the dupe lock. They're just not monsters. They're spells and traps. So in this deck, it's going to be spells and traps and Descendant to deal with that. Okay, so that's the main deck. It's a 40 card exactly. I never want to play more than 40 cards, especially in a 2-card combo X-Saber deck. So I decided to play the 40. I mean, I always play 40 in most of my decks anyways. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go into the extra deck, or the side deck, sorry. The side deck was variable because I couldn't bring all the side deck options. So this is kind of like what I played in the pod, but I'll tell you about what I want to go going forward. So I didn't have the Kaikus that Totogan plays in the side deck, so I decided to play the DD Assailant. So the reason why he plays Kaiku and I play the Assailant is because DD Assailant can deal with any monster. It's also not DDVable, and it's also a warrior type. Because it's a warrior type, I can search for the Rhoda, and I can actually do 1-for-1 trades with DD Assailant. It's because it's kind of like a D prison on legs. So I decided to do that little logic too. If you're playing against DDV decks, you want to side out 1 Fulham Knight and keep in the Rhoda. The Rhoda essentially is non-DDVable, and so the Rhoda is going to be able to search for the Fulham Knight after DDV resolves, and then the Fulham Knight stays alive. That's kind of the idea behind it. And you also have another target for Reinforcement of the Army, which is this card as well. So that's kind of the idea going post-board. Kaiku is a spellcaster, unfortunately, so you can't search it off the Reinforcement of the Army. And Kaiku's good. It has a lot of utility, but I don't want to go into a non-X-Saber too much. This is also a non-X-Saber, but I'd rather go into something that clears as opposed to Kaiku that doesn't clear. His 1800 stats is okay, but it's just not as good as the X-Saber monsters. It's not as good as Blackwing monsters that can run it over mainly. 1 DD Crow, 1 Transmigration Prophecy. Good ratios, by the way, because Sandgang can search for this. And this card actually has another utility where it allows you to put back a Arabellum from your graveyard back to your deck so that your Rescue Cat is alive. That's another utility that I found, but mostly it's for hero frogs to be able to put back the Treeborn frogs or the heroes if they're trying to resolve a Miracle Fusion. Iron Wall put in a lot of work. I played this against Amaryllis and Hero Frogs, so this was like a god card. If you flip this after they resolve Hidden Armory in Amaryllis, and they search for the Mark of the Rose to try to take your Gotems, you can just flip this on resolution of the Hidden Armory, and they can't normal summon or set anymore. And so if they can't normal summon or set anymore, then they're clear for an attack because their Mark of the Rose can't steal the Gotems. For Hero Frogs, they couldn't activate Miracle Fusion, and they couldn't resolve a Caius. So that's kind of the biggest idea behind it. And then some hero frogs I've seen side D prison, so this stopped the D prison, so that was kind of weird. So yeah, that's that. I still side the light imprisoned mirror in case I play against Lightsworns and fairies. Although I might cut it in the future, even though Lightsworn is a bad matchup, it is still favorable because I have this card. I have the 2 Cyber Dragons, so again, you're going to be playing against the DDV decks, which is Blackwings. And so even though you do get hit by oppression by siding in the Cyber Dragon, you at least don't get hit by the DDV with the Cyber Dragon inside deck. It allows you to go into level 8 Synchros, although I don't play any of this level 8 Synchros besides Stardust, which is fine. I just typically use them as a beat stick, and also being able to contact for Chimera Tech, as I now main deck it, as opposed to not. I do side the 1 Gravity Bind. It's really good against Blackwings. The reason why I play Gravity Bind over the level limit is because this is a trap card, so people will still have to respect a mystery card. Whereas with level B, if you activate it, people know what it is already, so they just play around it. That's kind of the idea. I also don't want to special summon Voltron in defense mode if I play level B, whereas this card I can put in attack mode and then try to make a Hyunlei to pop the Gravity Bind. And if you make a Hyunlei, you also pop the... if you make a Hyunlei, it would have to go in defense mode with level B, whereas with this card it can go in attack mode. I have the Trap Stun and the 2 Dust Tornado. I still want to change this. I really like the Trap Stun being able to be acting as a sweeper card. But I like Trap Stun because you can just chain it to Deck Devastation Virus and Icarus Attack, and then they can go really neg on the trap card. And then I have the Dust Tornado because you can hit continuous cards and get it off the board. If you're playing against an Ultimate Offering deck, for example, you can hit the Ultimate Offering and they won't be able to resolve it. But mainly this is for Royal Oppression, to be able to get rid of it one and done, so you don't have to deal with it anymore. So that was my side deck. I don't think I would change anything per se just yet. I'm going to have to do more testing with this deck going forward. Okay, so let's go into the extra deck. I play the 2 Gotems. It's pretty much the same one. I did up the count of Armory Arm because there was one game where I resolved the Regiguri off the Fulham Knight, but I already used Armory Arm, so I needed a second one. So that's why I decided to play the second one. I play the 2 5s, the 2 6s. I don't play Urquazes anymore. Urquazes came out for the Armory Arm. You don't really care about piercing too much because you're going to be attacking them directly often, so you don't have to worry. And then we have the Black Rose. I actually made this, and I also made the Arcanite Magician because you have the Gravekeepers. We have the Stardust, the Mistworm, and the Chimera Tech. So the one thing I don't play is Starlight Road as well in the main deck. Starlight Road, I'm not a big fan of that card for sabers that fight for board early. But I'm definitely in favor of that card if you're playing the version that is combo, the Totogon build. And so that was pretty much it. So that's pretty much the update video. I know it's pretty long, but I just wanted to update you guys on what I think about Dark Sabers as a whole. It's basically Synchro Cat, but with X Saber cards in it. And so I try to make it so that I don't rely on Full Troll in some games to win the game. Whereas in other builds, you do rely on Full Troll to be open to win the game. But yeah, that's enough for me. And for the Ultimate Time Wizard, I didn't do so well. Just letting you guys know, but I did well with this list, so I'm probably going to play this list going forward if I want to go into another Ultimate Time Wizard event. But I'll see you guys on the next one, and I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend at Nats. If you did decide to go, I met a lot of cool people at Nats, so shout out to them. It was really a relaxing little vacation that I had after a very stressful week of playing other card games, but that's besides the point. And I'll see you guys more in the next video. Peace.